So this is our final session for science for class 9 and 10. Okay, all the 9 sessions I hope was very useful to you. And we will try to recall what we did yesterday. 1 minute. Sri, what we did yesterday. Yesterday we learned about different teaching techniques which we can adopt in chemistry sessions so that we can make chemistry more fun related. Because generally what will be the tendency and attitude of children is that chemistry is very tough. It is very dry. It's very difficult to remember the equations, the important technical terms, all these valencies, writing formulas and all these things. So this is a general attitude and thought the children are having. So we have to try to find ways and methodologies by which we can make the subject more interesting, more captivating, so that the children will come forward and they will start preparing with more interest. So once that interest and that fire we ignite in the minds of the children, you see that automatically they start picking up the subject and they start learning the subject with interest, which will benefit them. Because once the base is going to be very strong, it will be very, very good for them when they do their 11th and 12th standard. For 11th and 12th standard, you know that 10th standard and 9th standard chemistry plays a very, very important role. It stands as a base. So the foundation has to be very, very strongly laid. So we adopted different techniques. Can anyone suggest what are the techniques we adopted, teachers?
Heuristic methodology of teaching, ma'am.
Correct.
Role play.
Role play.
Yes, ma'am. Or integrated science teaching, ma'am.
Yes. So we saw that how heuristic method can be used to test. That is, the child is going to learn on his own what is the concept by performing certain experiments and identifying what it could be. So we can suggest the simple experiments with available materials either at home or in school, so that they themselves will start doing the experiment. They will start analyzing, they will start thinking with the knowledge what they have gained, and they will try to come to a conclusion. This will develop a scientific aptitude in the minds of the children. So that is the job of heuristic method. Today we are going to mainly talk about assessment strategy. More than setting a question paper, we have to see how we can train the students. That's very, very important. What is the ultimate aim of every school? The ultimate aim of every school is that the children in 10th standard board exam, they should get maximum mark. There should be more number of sentence. There should be the average of it of the class should go high. So for this, the children have to write the answers correctly. So what is the answer that is expected and what they should write? So we will be discussing about that only more in detail. We have to we have to kindle the thinking. Okay, even if it's not going to come in a stroke. You can see that whenever a person is preparing for NEET, why we are having special classes for NEET? Because we are asking the NEET teachers are going to train the students to think and write the exams. So we are conducting lot of model exams and we are training the students to think in those terms, so that finally when the child is going to write the NEET exam, he finds it easier. So basic thing, if you see, it requires more of training the brain to think in the right terms, in the right direction, so that the mark that is expected comes to the child. So today we are going to talk about the assessment strategies. What are the ways the child should think for answering a particular answer? How much he should write? He should not write more, he should not write less. It should be correct up to the mark. What is expected? What could be the key words? About all these things we will discuss in this session. Is it clear, teachers, till this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So let us start. General instruction. This is every year the assessment strategy by the CBSE board is varying. So this is the current year, the year what we are going to see. We know that the annual examination will be based on the entire syllabus. Last year, you know that we had it as term 1 and term 2. But coming year, he has planned so far only to have it as an annual examination. Next, the annual examination will be for 80 marks. So it is our duty to train the children to write the board exam for 80 marks, and 20 marks weightage will be given as internal assessment. So we have discussed in detail about this internal assessment techniques. What are the techniques we have to follow? What are the, sorry, I'll go to the, okay, what are the techniques we have to follow, and all those things we were discussing. So here you can see that there will be a periodic test that would include what? First 5 marks. So 3 periodic tests will be conducted by the school. Average of the best of the 2 tests will be taken. Here the child is having a disadvantage. He may not be able to score the 5 marks. So that is what on the first day when we discussed, I think we told. Next, other 5 marks is diverse method of assessment. You can follow any one of the method that is given here as per the need of the class dynamics and curriculum transaction. These may include short tests. You may conduct a small short test like a slip test after each topic or after each lesson. You can conduct a small slip test. Oral test. While taking class, you can question them orally. Oral tests can be conducted. Quiz programs can be conducted. Okay, this will be a kind of playway method. When they form a team, they will be having more enthusiasm. You can see that the children will participate more willingly than a short test or an oral test. Concept map. Yesterday we discussed about concept map in detail. How a concept map has to be framed. The concept map, how they have to draw. So yesterday we discussed about this in detail. Projects. Project also we know how we can do a portfolio, posters, presentation, all these things. So they can use, you can use any one of this method for testing them, and you can give them after a complete analysis over a period of time, you can award this 5 marks. Next, practicals. Practical also we discuss what is the syllabus for practicals, how the practicals can be conducted, and all those things we discussed in detail. Practical bar laboratory work should be done throughout the year, and the student should maintain a record. They have to be trained to maintain a record notebook. The record notebook has to be maintained very neatly. On the right side, what they should write, on the left side, what they should write, where the result should come. All these things the child should know. The child should be able to do it on his own when he is coming up at the end of the year. So all the practical listed in the syllabus must be completed. Next, portfolio. About portfolio, we had a detailed discussion, and we also I also showed you what is the model, how is the portfolio prepared for class 10. So we also had a model. Next, you see, this is the course of study for class 9. Okay, for class 9, we are having marks for chemistry. If you take chemistry, the mark allotted is out of 25 marks is allotted. You can see there, matter, its nature and behavior. So all the chemistry lessons, whatever we are learning, from that part, we are going to get 25 marks in the board exam for the chemistry part of it. So it is our responsibility to train the students to get this to a full 25 marks, so that they are, whenever they go for the exam, they are going to sit with the confidence. They are going to have the confidence that they are going to get full marks in chemistry. So this is class 9 portion. Only if they know the importance of scoring mark in 9th standard, in the 10th standard, they will be more serious. So you have to, from the beginning itself, it is our duty to tell them. 9th standard is like a mock for a 10th standard. So when they come to the 9th standard itself, we should tell them the responsibility of scoring the marks. Now for 10th standard, you know, Chemical substances, nature and behavior. Here also the mark allotted is 25 marks. So as a chemistry teacher, this 25 mark is our responsibility. We have to ensure that the child is able to score this mark with confidence. We have to instill the confidence in the minds of the children so that they are able to score the mark without any hesitation. So that is our responsibility. Next, you can see question paper design. How the question paper has to be framed. So he has given demonstration of knowledge and understanding, 46% of the mark. 46% of the mark should be allotted, and the question should be how tested for in the terms of demonstration, the knowledge and understanding. Next, application of knowledge concept, 22%. So why 46% is given for knowledge? Because we'll have students of all categories. There will be students who are slow learners, who are not very good. So he has to category to the needs of all kinds of students. So that is why you see the major chunk of the mark is given. 46% of the mark is given for testing the knowledge and understanding. Application of knowledge and concept, 22%. Formula, analyze, evaluate and create, 32%. So when you frame the question paper, we have to frame only in these terms. Okay, we have to test the question paper. The questions should be tested in this format only. So you have to take care that this kind of format is utilized when you frame your question paper. Most important thing. Next one, what kind of questions will come? See there, typology of question. What kind of? Very short, including objective type of questions. It can be a choose the correct answer. So you should very short, or it can be a one mark question. Okay, name a metal which is stored in kerosene. Such type of questions can come. Or it can be an MCQ question. So objective type question can come. Assertion reason type questions can come. Source based, you can be given a case study and then you can ask questions related to it. So under typology of questions, we are going to see assertion reason type question model in this session. Here I have taken 2 questions based under assertion reason type of question. Here I'm not going to tell you how to frame the question. For that, we are all qualified. I don't have to teach you how to frame a question. But I'm going to tell more about how you should train the students, because for that you need an experience. As a teacher with 25 years of experience, I have sent for board nearly 20 years. 20 years I have been working in training the students in 9 and 10. So what kind of training is needed? That is what is the trick. So when you train them properly, automatically you see that children will start scoring marks. They will be trained to think in that way and they will start getting marks. So that is what is in our hands. So we will discuss about that. Case-based study question also I have taken a model and we will discuss about that also in detail. Then internal choice, 33% approximately questions will have internal marks. Then internal assessment he has again given. Then you can see that what kind of words you can use he has given. For the first category, that is 46% mark, demonstrating knowledge and understanding, the questions can start with state, name, list. For example, state periodic law. Okay, like that you can give. Or you can give a structure of a compound and name this compound, like that you can give. Or identify this compound, like that you can give. Define law of constant composition, you can give like that. So you for demonstrating knowledge and understanding, you can use words like state, name, list, identify, define, suggest, describe, outline, summarize, like that. These kind of words will help them to think. So use these kinds of words when you set a question paper. Next, application of knowledge. Application of knowledge and concept. So here the child has to apply, calculate, calculate the molecular mass of sodium carbonate. If you're giving like that, here the child has to apply its knowledge. He should know what is the atomic mass of sodium. What is sodium carbonate? First, you should know the formula of it, Na2CO3. Then you should know the atomic mass of sodium, carbon, oxygen. Then after that, you should apply that and you should solve the problem. So here you see that application of knowledge and concept has to be used. Illustrate with example. Okay, the formation of covalent bond. So here, what is covalent bond? He should know. He has to take up an example, say formation of sodium chloride. So here he will say how sodium chloride is formed, how sodium is giving one electron, how chlorine is accepting one, like that for ionic bond. If it is covalent bond, he can give an example for nitrogen, formation of nitrogen molecule, how nitrogen is sharing 3 electrons. Okay, how each nitrogen atom is giving 3 electrons and how they form a triple covalent bond, like that. So you see that you can give like that question, illustrate the formation of covalent bond, illustrate the formation of ionic bond. If it is ionic bond, they will talk about sodium chloride formation. If it is covalent bond, they will talk about the formation of nitrogen molecule. So like that. Then show, adapt, explain, distinguish between metals and non-metals based on physical property. Like that you can give questions. So you see that these type of questions can be asked and it will come under the concept of application of knowledge and concept. Next, formulate, analyze, evaluate, create. Okay, this is a category where the child has to think more. So what kind of questions you should ask? Interpret, analyze. You have to give a situation and you should ask how to interpret this. So we have taken examples, we will see. Compare. Okay, compare methane and ethene, like that, or compare ethene and ethine. You can say. So how will you will say, you can say, if you ask the question, compare ethene and ethine. So ethene is belonging to the family of alkenes. Ethine belong to the family of alkynes. In ethene, there is a double bond. In ethine, there is a triple bond. Like that, you can compare. So examine, evaluate, discuss, construct the formation of a molecule. Here, electron dot structures will come. So like this type of questions will come under this type. Teachers, do you have any doubts?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, if they are giving a proper word, if they are mentioning a specific keyword, instead of mentioning in a sentence for distinguishing type of questions, ma'am, somebody will be a slow learners, no, ma'am.
Yeah, we have to what we are going to discuss here. So okay. I have taken some examples of questions. Here we are going to tell them how to identify the clue. Every question will have a clue. So it is our duty to tell the students where is the clue. So I have taken a set of questions wherein we are going to find the clue. So whenever they read the question, when you train them to look for the clue, 2-3 questions you tell them, automatically they will understand how to find the clue. Okay, so that's what we are going to see now. Okay, right now we'll go to the next slide. Saranya ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So model. So here you can see first, under first category, demonstrate knowledge and understanding. Here I used the question as state. Now look at this question. State the reason why carbon can reduce copper oxide to copper, but not calcium oxide to calcium. So this is the question they have asked. So now the child, you are giving this question to the child. How the child should think. Here he has to take 2 metals. What are the 2 metals involved in the question? Copper and calcium.
Calcium.
So now how will you compare copper and calcium? Based on the reactivity series. So as soon as he reads the question, you tell him to compare the metals based on the reactivity series. Okay, which is more reactive, copper or calcium?
Copper, ma'am.
Copper, ma'am.
Copper is more reactive or calcium is more reactive? Calcium is more reactive than copper. Okay, calcium is more reactive than copper. So in the mnemonics also we have given the order. If you see the order, you can see. Okay, so if you see the in the mnemonics, I think I have given the
That Happy
reactivity
Potter.
series.
Harry Potter, ma'am.
Please stop calling
So
me.
yeah, in that, if you see first calcium will come, then only copper is coming. So you will, how this question has to be answered. What is carbon? Carbon is a good reducing agent. So the first the child should say why copper oxide is reduced to copper. So you tell that you train the child to say that carbon is a good reducing agent. What is a reducing agent? Agent which helps in removal of oxygen. In a removal of oxygen, the reduction. Copper oxide length, we are removing oxygen. So carbon should be a good reducing agent. Okay, reducing agent is helping the substance to get reduced. Can you see the board, madam? Can you see the board? Everybody?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first, what is the answer the child should write? The child should say that why copper oxide is reduced to copper, because carbon is a good reducing agent. So let him write it as CuO plus C gives Cu plus CO. For removal of oxygen is reduction. So who is helping for that? Carbon is helping for that. So carbon is a good reducing agent. Okay, yeah, right. Now, so first part of the question we have answered, but not calcium oxide. So now we have to give reason why we are not able to do that in the case of calcium. So here you will say calcium is very, very active. According to the reactivity series, calcium is more active than copper. So the word he is expecting here is calcium is more active than copper. Cherry, okay. If it is more active, what will it do? You have to tell the students. Because it is more active, it is not giving the oxygen to carbon. Do you understand? So it is not giving the oxygen to carbon. So what is the word? I can't write it is not giving oxygen to carbon. That is not the word you can ask the child to write. You have to tell the child, you should write it as calcium has more affinity towards carbon, oxygen. So because it is having more affinity towards oxygen, it is not giving the oxygen to carbon. Therefore, carbon is not able to reduce calcium oxide. Do you understand how the answer has to be written? Teachers?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So if you tell them like this, the child will understand and he will be able to write the answer clearly. So the main idea is we have to train the students to think in these terms. So when you give them such type of questions repeatedly in the form of revision, automatically the child will think in a proper term and they will start writing answers what we are expecting. The first question is clear under demonstration of knowledge. Teachers?
Yes, ma'am. It is, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, shall we go to the next one? The next
Yes,
one,
ma'am.
I have not given all, I have not used all the, I have taken two and I have taken as an example because for all we will not have time. So that is why. Okay. So next one, I have used the word identify. Identify an yellow color powder. But the yellow color powder is X. Okay. Soluble in carbon disulfide. It burns with blue flame, forming a suffocating smell gas, which turns moist blue litmus red. Always, whenever you train your students, you should say to your students that they should look for a clue. Every question will have a clue. So they have to identify the clue. If they identify the clue, automatically they will write. இப்போ வந்து இந்த x வந்து from the child's point of view, if you see, the child will not know whether it what it is. So how to, he has to look for a clue. எது clue அப்படின்னா, which turns moist blue litmus to red. Which will turn blue litmus to red. So immediately they will think A, B, R. Correct? Correct? A, B, R. A another acids, B another blue litmus red. So an acid will turn blue litmus red. When is an acid formed? When it is having a non-metallic oxide dissolved in water. Apo X should be a non-metal. This is the clue. Okay, so initially the child didn't know whether X is a metal or non-metal, but now he has found that it is not a metal. It is only a non-metal. How has he found out the clue? He has found out the clue using the word turns moist blue litmus red. Okay, yeah. So now we'll go. இப்போ வந்து non-metals which is yellow in color னு பாப்போம். Right? So which is yellow in color? Sulfur. So X, the yellow colored powder X is sulfur. First point is over. So we have identified. It burns with a blue flame. Burning nale, what is the reaction? What is the name of the reaction when an element burns? Combustion.
Combustion.
What element we are taking here? What is the element?
Sulfur.
Calcium.
Sulfur.
Sulfur. Suppose sulfur will burn in oxygen to form what? What will it form?
Sulfur dioxide, ma'am.
Very good. Super. Sulfur dioxide. So that is, so the second part of the question, we have answered. What is it? It burns with a blue color flame, forming a suffocating smell gas. Suppose this is a gas. Can you see, teachers? Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
See the board? Yeah. So, and it is a gas, right? So sulfur dioxide, second part of it we have done. Now look at the third part of it, which turns moist. Moist and a very, very important clue. Moist and the litmus paper is not dry in artham. Why? Because sulfur dioxide has to dissolve in water. Water edhula irukku? Moist litmus paper la irukku. So the litmus paper is moist. So the water is there in the form of the wet litmus paper. So the sulfur dioxide will take that moist water, that is the water, and dissolve to form H2SO3, sulfurous acid. It is this sulfurous acid which turns blue litmus to red. So now you see that the child will be able to answer. So when he reads the question, he should know. I will tell my children the 15 minutes reading time is very, very, very important. Okay, the board, what board is giving? You have to read the question and you have to then itself plan your answers. So only when you plan your answer, you will be able to write your board exam more clearly. Planning is very, very essential. So before writing the answer, the child has to think. Now we have covered all the part of it. We have written yellow color substance. What is it? We have written what happens when it burns in oxygen. We have also written why it is turning moist blue litmus red. Any doubts, teachers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Shall we go to the next level? Application of knowledge. Here, all this is what they have learned, they have used it. But the third part is application of knowledge. When we have to use our knowledge. Here you see that. Analyze why a few drops of sulfuric acid is added in water during electrolysis. Why acid should be added in electrolysis? Now you should know that pure water is not a good conductor of electricity. So, okay. Now, water is in what state? What is the state of water? What is the state of water? Teachers? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Liquid state, ma'am.
Liquid state, correct. Water is in liquid state, right? So now, why water is not, how will current flow through water? Due to the movement of ions. So in water, the current is able to flow because of the movement of ion. In pure water, there is no possibility of formation of ions. So water is a poor conductor of electricity. What happens when I add sulfuric acid? What is the nature of sulfuric acid? Sulfuric acid is a strong acid. What is an acid? An acid is one which will give me H plus ion when dissolved in water. So as soon as I add sulfuric acid, the sulfuric acid dissociate into H plus ions. And when there is ions, you see current will flow. So that is why the water starts conducting electricity after we add a few drops of sulfuric acid. Any doubts, teachers? This is how you should tell them. This much only they should write. This is the key point here is that you will say that water does not conduct, pure water does not conduct electricity because it is not forming ions. When I add sulfuric acid splits into H plus ion, it dissociates into H plus ion, and you see that it becomes a good conductor of electricity. So this is what they should write. Any doubts, teachers? Asta has been collecting silver coins. Now, this is what Saranya ma'am asked. So here you see the question is not direct. Here the question is given in the form of a situation. Yes or no, Saranya ma'am? Just see that. Asta
Yes,
has
ma'am.
been collecting silver coins and copper coins. One day she observed a black coating on silver coins and green coating on silver. Silver, it's copper coins. Interpret the chemical phenomenon that is involved. So you have to analyze what is it? It is corrosion. So you have to think in terms of corrosion. So when silver coins are exposed to moisture, what happens? Here it is absorbing sulfur that is present. You see that the coins are becoming black because you see that the silver is forming silver sulfide Ag2S, and the reaction is taking place here between hydrogen sulfide and silver. So hydrogen sulfide is present in the atmosphere, and this hydrogen sulfide reacts with silver, and because of this you see that the reaction is taking place. So you can tell the children to write, you can teach them the equation. You can say here, can you see the board, teachers? Ag silver.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
H2S, okay, forms silver sulfide Ag2S plus H2. Now here 2Ag is there, balancing of equation very important. So 2Ag plus H2S gives Ag2S. So this is only responsible. Silver sulfide is only responsible for black coating of silver. So when you teach them like this, they will understand it, right? Next, what is asked in Paranga? Green coating on copper. I have typed it as silver coin. Sorry, it's copper. Okay, copper coins. So why copper is what is happening? Copper is also reacting with moist air. Very, very important. If you just tell air, that is not enough. Why we should say moist air? Yeah, moist air. Because moist air, we can understand that the air will contain not only carbon dioxide and oxygen, but it also will contain water. It will also contain water droplets, water in the form of water vapor. Adanale, the word moist air is very, very important. So you will say that when copper is exposed to moist air, it is starting to react. So how does it react? You see that copper is reacting with carbon dioxide, oxygen, as well as it is reacting with water, right? So what does it forms? It forms a green color coating. What is this green color coating? The green color coating is called basic copper carbonate. It's called basic copper carbonate. The formula will be CuCO3 dot CuOH twice. This is called basic copper carbonate. So because of this only, it is becoming green in color. So now he has interpreted what is the chemical reaction that is taking place. Plus we have also supported our interpretation with evidences, with the equation. So if the question is asked in 1 mark, it is enough you just write, interpret the chemical phenomenon, corrosion, enough. If it is asked in 2 marks, Abdina, you should tell them what they must write, how much they must write, depending upon the answer. If it is asked in 2 marks, he has to write the that is hydrogen sulfide is there in the in the atmosphere, it forms silver sulfide, like that and all he can write. If it is asked in 3 marks, they should also support their answer with equation. So where the equation should be written, depending upon the marks, you can train them. You can tell them, if this many marks, na write this much. If this many marks, na write this. Like that, if you tell them repeatedly, the children will be trained for that also. They will know how much to write and what to write, and they will be able to do the exam better. Any doubts, teachers?
No, ma'am. It's clear, ma'am.
Right.
Clear,
Shall I
ma'am.
go to the next one? Is the session
Yes.
okay for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, under next category, we should go. Is it not? Assertion, reason, type. So now here I have taken 2 examples for assertion and reason. First example you see here, salts are the products of teachers. I'm not very good in typing. So here and there will be some errors. So please
It's okay, ma'am.
excuse
It's
me.
okay, ma'am. It's okay.
I'm not a computer savvy. I just learned this COVID has taught us a lot, and our great thanks to our management who has helped us. Now I am able to do this much. Now it's because of our school. That is what it is. Right. Assertion will go. Salts are products of acid-base reaction. So here the child should know what is an acid-base reaction. We will take a simple example. Okay, 1 minute, I'll rub the board, teachers. Right. So, acid-base reaction, you can give the example as HCl plus NaOH. Yes. So when you write like this, you can show here the formation of water molecules. You can see here H2O. You can show them that, right? Gives NaCl plus H2O. So when an acid reacts with a base, it forms salt and water. So the first statement, what is it saying? Salts are the products of acid-base reaction. Now they will come to a conclusion that assertion is right. Correct, no, teachers? So when the child reads itself, ask him to think whether the statement is true or the statement is false. As he reads, let him think and let him come to the conclusion before going to the next thing. Now I have come to the conclusion that the statement is right. Of course, salt is produced when an acid is going to react with a base. Fine. Now we'll go to the next one, reason part. Salt may be acidic or basic. He has stopped with it. It can be acidic, it can be basic, but it's not completely true. What? It can also be neutral. Okay, when the salt will be neutral, when I use a strong acid and strong base, the salt formed will be neutral. Okay, when it will be acidic, when I use a strong acid and weak base. Correct? Strong acid and weak base. Suppose I am treating hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is a strong acid. I treat it with a weak base. Ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. Now what will happen? The salt that is formed will be acidic in nature. So the child should know that. Right? When will it be basic in nature? Can you tell me? When you have a strong base.
We have a strong base and weak acid, ma'am.
Yes, strong base, sodium hydroxide, weak acid, acetic acid. So the salt formed will be basic in nature. Like that, you have to teach the children about the type of salt. அப்போ இங்க வந்து the reason is true only, but it is not giving a complete explanation. The complete explanation should be salt may be acidic, it can be basic, or it can be neutral. So the answer will be option B. What is option B? Assertion and reason are right, but R is not the correct explanation. So this should be the answer. So when he writes the answer, he should also know what should be the what should be, why he is taken that option. Like that he should know, and then only he should select. So when you train them this way. Any doubts, teachers, in this assertion reason? Second example for assertion and reason. The number of electrons in an atom is always equal to number of proton. It's a very simple statement. It's true. It's not always in an atom protons are equal to electron. So it's very true. So the assertion is true. Now let us go for the reason. What is the reason given? The atom is always made up of proton and electron. The statement is not right. Why? Because an atom is made up of proton, electron, and
And
neutron.
neutrons.
Okay, so it should have proton, it should have electron, it should have neutron. So you see that this statement, it appears to be true. That's why I've taken. First, when they see the first statement, they'll think it's very easy. They will not read the second statement correctly. So you have to tell them. You have to tell them each and every step what they read. They have to be more concentrated. They have to be more cautious, because it is after all the marks that plays a very, very, very important role. Okay, for example, if you see in physics, they will just explain the construction and working of, only they will see. Whether it's a AC generator or DC generator, they will not see properly. Generator, they will see and they will write. I have known a student who has, he didn't see whether it's AC or DC. He wrote a wrong answer. So you have to tell them, you have to insist them, you have to keep on telling them, because they are children again. So you have to tell them what is the statement, read the statement twice, see whether what is asked. Sometimes first time when you read, you will not know it. But when you read it again, you will know what is it. So here the statement is A is true, assertion is true, but reason is false. So this is how assertion reason questions have to be answered by the students. This is how you should train them for writing assertion and reason. So next one is case-based study questions. This is very, very important. Here you should be very careful that the questions what you are selecting should be related to the topic that is there in the case base, but it should not be like merely seeing the question from there and writing the answers. It should not be like that also. So you have to be very, very, very careful. Now let us see this case-based study question. In an experimental activity, crushed ice was taken in a beaker. A thermometer was used in such a way that its bulb was thoroughly surrounded by the ice. So you have immersed the thermometer into the ice. The beaker, can anyone read? I am not able to read because my, 1 minute. I will just take in this mobile.
May I read, ma'am?
Yeah, please, ma'am.
In an experimental activity, crushed ice was taken in a beaker. A thermometer is fitted in such a way that its bulb was thoroughly surrounded by ice. The beaker is now slowly heated and temperature was regularly noted.
So here
Temperature.
he is talking of, he is going to talk about the change of state. So as soon as the child is going to read this, immediately you should understand that he is talking about the change of state. This is a case-based study related to 9th standard. So I don't want only 10th standard to be taken. So case-based question I have taken from 9th standard. So immediately you should understand that we are talking about the change of state. Yes, read, teacher, read.
Temperature rises gradually as the heating is continued and becomes constant when ice starts changing into a liquid.
Here he has not given the reason why the temperature remains the constant, but the child should know this because we would have taught them in the class. So your paragraph should be in such a way that it should not give a complete knowledge about what we are going to ask. It should just give you a hint. Now here, what is the hint? The temperature rises gradually and after some time it becomes a constant. This is the hint. But we have not, the paragraph is not explaining why the temperature has become constant. The temperature has become constant because change of state is going to take place. We know that it is latent heat, hidden heat. All that you would have taught in the class. So when the child reads this statement, he or she would have understood what is the concept they are trying to ask, right? Now we'll go to the questions. What is the name associated with the conversion of ice into water? This is a very simple question. So when you frame your 5 questions, now you should see that not all the questions are tough, because you should know that a question paper should cater to the needs of all type of children, right? It should not be only aimed at a very top, very good student. It should be aimed at a very, very slow learner, a person who is finding it difficult to pass. So this is a very, very simple one. Conversion of ice into water. It's a simple question. You would have learned it in 6th standard itself. What is it associated with? So conversion of ice into water is, you can say here, melting is not given. So it should be evaporation, sublimation, freezing, fusion of solid, which is the close answer he should write. Next question you just see. What specific name is given to the constant temperature? Now we have not stopped. We are heating the ice and the ice melts and it's becoming water and the water is heated continuously. Now the temperature is remaining a constant. You should know that the temperature will remain a constant at the boiling point. Okay, till all the water is converted into vapor. So here the answer should be related to your topic. Okay, at melting point also the temperature will be constant. So you see, in order to slightly confuse, you see the level of the question is slightly higher here. Melting point, boiling point, both are constant, but related to this paragraph, what is the correct answer? No, it's only boiling point, because we are talking about water changing into vapor. So it should be boiling point. This is how you should tell them. Clear, teachers? Clear? Next question you see, the heat added to the system at constant temperature is called latent heat. We call it as latent heat or hidden heat. This heat is used for changing the state of the substance from water to vapor or from solid to liquid. That is also called as latent heat. Where does the heat energy go when the temperature does not rise? So here you see there are many options. It makes the molecular motion of the liquid faster. It rises. So the answer will be, it is utilized for bringing out the complete change of state. So till it will be in 100 degree, till all the water is converted into vapor. So this is the answer. So when you train them like this, the child will be able to write. So this is one model for case-based state question for class 9. So for class 10, another case-based, I have told you, I'm giving you two examples, is it not? Yes, now we'll go to the next example. Okay, can you see the next example here? Now
Yes,
this is the question. Here you see that the salt pans in Marakanam, a port town, about, can anyone read it? Because it's getting, I will read it. The salt
The salt
pans.
pans.
Can anyone read? Ramya Prasad?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The salt pans in Markanam, a port town about 120 kilometers from Chennai, are the third largest producer of salt in Tamil Nadu. Separation of salt from water is laborious process, and the salt obtained is used as raw materials for manufacture of various sodium compounds. One such compound is sodium hydrogen carbonate, used in baking as an antacid and in soda acid fire extinguishers. The table shows the mass of various compounds obtained when 1 liter of seawater is evaporated.
Okay. And he has given here what all the child should see Abdina, what are the different compounds? Their formula and their weight is given. That is the mass of solid present in per gram is given and the total mass is given. You can see there 45 grams. That they should take into consideration. So 1 liter of seawater, from 1 liter of seawater, this is the amount of salt we are getting. If it is sodium chloride, it is 28 grams. If it is magnesium chloride like that, they have given you the various, data are given. Now we'll go to the questions. So you can see this and the questions are not much related. You can just see here. Which compound in the table react with acid to give carbon dioxide? It's an application oriented question. Sodium chloride will, so you should, the child should think now only carbonate salt will give them carbon dioxide. So he has to look in for carbonate salt. Option la paranga, sodium chloride, it's a chloride salt. CaSO4, it's calcium sulfate. There is no carbonate here. So the option is not there. Whenever they do choose the correct answer, you train them elimination method. What is elimination method? You have to eliminate the wrong answers first. So here any salt which is not having carbonate is a wrong answer. So first I will eliminate sodium chloride because there is no carbonate. Next I will eliminate calcium sulfate. There also there is no carbonate. Next I will eliminate magnesium sulfate. There also there is no carbonate. So the remaining will be your answer and mostly it will be correct. The answer is calcium carbonate. So train them in this way. Whenever I will tell them whenever they do their choose the correct answer, I will tell them do the elimination method, adopt the process of elimination method, because when you do it in that way, you see that your answers are perfect enough and you will be close to you not make any mistakes. You have to tell them that. Next, paranga, how many grams of magnesium sulfate are present in 135 grams of solid? This is again a slightly higher order level question. Now for this is asking about magnesium sulfate present in 135 grams. Let us go to the earlier slide. Now here you can see the tabular column. Tell the child to see the tabular column. Where is magnesium sulfate? Where is magnesium sulfate?
In third row, ma'am.
Okay, how many
The
grams?
mass of solid is 6
grams.
grams, ma'am.
What is the total amount of salt that is produced?
45 grams.
45 grams.
So you should tell the child should do the problem like this. That is, can you see the board? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So she should write, here I will write magnesium sulfate. Okay. Then I will write here total mass of the salt. Okay, that is how many grams of magnesium sulfate is present?
6 grams.
6 grams, ma'am.
6 grams of magnesium sulfate is present in total mass. How much?
45 grams.
grams.
Clear? Now, what is the question asked? Can anyone read? What is the mass of magnesium sulfate that will be produced in 135 grams? Correct? Am I right?
Yes,
teachers?
ma'am. Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
How many grams?
Magnesium sulfate of 135 grams.
135 grams. So here I will write 135. Here I do not know, so I will ask them to put it as X. Teachers, can you see the board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I will put it as X. Right? Then what should they do? They should cross multiply. When you cross multiply, it will be 6 into 135 divided by 45. Am I right, teachers? Yes. Yes. So
Yes,
you
ma'am.
can put this in 9 tables. So 5 tables. 5 9s are 45. Here again 2 27. So 9
27,
ones
ma'am.
are 3s are.
And 3, sir. And so 18 grams,
Will
ma'am.
be
18 grams.
Okay. So now we will see whether that option is given. See here, he is given 6 grams, 12 grams, 18 grams, 24 grams. So now the child will know the answer will be what? What is the answer?
18 grams.
18 grams. So ask him to work it out, work out the problem like this, and ask him to find out the answer and look for the option, and where he can find the option easily. Any doubts, teachers, in this?
No, ma'am. No.
Shall we go to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the saturated solution of sodium chloride called? Lime water, we know that. Lime water, I told you, use elimination option. Lime water, what is the lime water? It's calcium hydroxide.
Calcium oxide.
Calcium oxide. Slaked lime is calcium hydroxide. Soda water, again, it's not. So what is the answer? It will be brine.
Brine solution.
Brine solution will be the
Solution.
answer. Brine solution will be the answer. So ask, tell them, keep on repeatedly tell them to use the elimination method, because that will be helping them to reach the answer very closely. Mostly they will not make mistakes. So they must know what is right and what is wrong. For that, thorough knowledge is very, very essential. Ask them to keep on reading the books repeatedly. I'll tell them always read the books like storybook. Okay, how you are reading a storybook without any pressure, is it not? Well, whenever they take the books, NCERT books, they have the pressure that they should get marks. So that pressure is only making them not to concentrate. Okay, whereas in the storybook, there is no pressure. There is no marks for it. So I'll tell them, read it just like that, you keep reading. Keep reading again and again and again, you will see that it will be there. Next, what is the pH of acid which is used in the formation of common salt? You know that we use only a strong acid. Common salt is sodium chloride. The acid used will be hydrochloric acid. This is how they should think. Hydrochloric acid, now the pH value should be less than 7. Strong acid, now it should be less than
More,
3.
Less than
Not.
3.
So
Less.
the option will be what? Between 1 to 3.
3.
Because between 6 to 8, it will be weakly acidic. 8 to 10 is basic in nature.
Basic.
11 to 13 is strong bases.
Strong
So
base.
the option will be 1 to 3. So that will be the option. So ask them to use such methodologies so that they will find the answer easy. So now we have finished assertion reason questions. We have finished case-based study questions. Now we'll move on to 2-mark questions. How a 2-mark should be framed? What could be the answers related to the 2-mark? Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of 2-mark and how the mark allotment should be done for the 2-mark. That also we will discuss. Okay, so let me take up an example. Here you can see a 2-mark question. Yes. First, the 2-mark has got 2 subdivisions, right? First subdivision says, draw any one structure of isomer C4H10. C4H10, you should know it's a saturated compound. It belongs to the family of alkane. And the name of the compound is butane. You should first, when they read, they have to know the clue. C4H10 will come under the formula CnH2n plus 2. This is the alkane formula. Cn, n is equal to 4. So 4 2s are 8 plus 2 is 10. So this is the formula of alkane. So the first, we are talking about the isomer of alkane family. That is the first thought the child should get in its mind. Next, what is the name of that isomer compound? 4 carbon atom, it should be bute. So, since in that compound there is a single bond saturated, it should end with A and E. If it is a double bond, it will end with E and E. If it is a triple bond, it will end with Y and E. This is the clue you should give them. So single bond, all the IUPAC name will end with A and E. Double bond, E and E. Triple bond, Y and E.
Y and E.
Okay, so that is the clue you will give them. So now he knows that butane. Butane can be, you can see there 2 possible isomers I have written. One is a straight chain. You can see that 4 carbon atoms are arranged in a straight chain. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. So whenever they draw the structure, ask them to count the valency lines. I tell them to count the line. Surrounding the carbon, there should be 4 lines. I'll tell them to see whether there are 4 lines. Now look here, 1. Okay, can you see my arrow mark, teachers? Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
1, 2, 3, 4. Valency satisfied. So whenever they draw the structure, ask them to draw the structure by counting. That will help them to draw it perfectly. So this is the structure of butane. This is isobutane. Common name is isobutane. I'll draw the structure in the board so that you will have a clarity. 1 minute. Isobutane structure. It's a branched hydrocarbon. It's a branched hydrocarbon. So 1, 2, 3. And 1 carbon is here. That's why we are calling it a branch. Okay, yeah. Tell them to that. Now, there are 3 carbon atoms. Whenever they have to name, they have to see the longest chain, preferably the straight chain. Here the longest, this is the longest chain because it has got 3 carbon atoms. So that will be your parent chain. Upon 3 carbon atom it is 3 pro. Between the carbon atoms, single bond is there. So it is A and B. Now let them draw. I told you to count the lines. So ask them to count 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 3. Now here 2, 1, 2, 3 for this carbon atom. So 1 more only will come here, 4. Now this carbon atom valency is also satisfied. Now look at this carbon. Only 1 line is over. How many more lines should they draw? How many more lines? Teachers? 3 more lines they must draw. So 1, 2, and 3. So you will draw. Now because here you have a methyl group, it is called 2-methyl propane. For this carbon atom, already 1 is over, 2, 3, and 4. This is how you should teach them to draw the structure. So by drawing any one of the structure, you can see there, any one structure of the isomer with IUPAC naming. So drawing the structure half a mark, IUPAC name half a mark. So if I draw the structure of butane half a mark, writing butane, I'll get a half a mark. Or if I draw isobutane half a mark, writing the IUPAC name as 2-methyl propane half a mark. So half plus half, 1 mark over. Now we'll go to the B1. Write the name and structural formula of an organic compound with the suffix OL. So if you have the suffix OL, you should understand that it should be an alcohol, because alcohol only has got the suffix OL. So the answer, and 2 carbon atoms. So you can tell them to draw 2 carbon atoms like this. Now here also it's the suffix OH should come here, right? 1, 2, 3. So 3 hydrogen atom. Here 2 lines are already there. So 2 more. So this is how you should tell them to draw the structure. There you have seen there. For writing ethanol half a mark, plus for drawing the structure another half a mark. So this is how the 2-mark question has to be framed and written. Any doubts, teacher, here? Teachers?
No, ma'am. No,
Shall I go to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Sorry. Next question, Paranga. An element X belong to 3rd period. So here the 3rd period tells me how many shells we are having. That's very, very important. So X is having 3 shells. What are the 3 shells? K shell, L shell, M shell. So this is the clue they get. They should also understand that when you have 3 shells, only when the first shell is filled, you can move to the second shell. So the maximum number of electrons in the first shell can be 2. Next, only if the L shell is filled, it can go to M shell. The maximum number of electron in the M shell is 8. Then it belongs to 17 group, not 10 plus 7. So in the outermost shell, it is having 7 electrons. So this will be the electronic configuration. You can see that. State its electronic configuration. So the electronic configuration will be 2, 8, 7. So this is how you should tell them to write and do things. Clear, teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Valency. For finding the valency, the outermost shell you should see. In the outermost shell, there are 7 electrons. So it should be 8 minus 7. Therefore, the valency will be 1. So you have to here justify your answer also. You will say that since 7 electrons are there, it will be highly electronegative. So it will have a tendency to accept electron. It gains 1 electron and therefore it is highly electronegative. The element is a non-metal. Like that you can give justification for your answer. Is it clear? So here you see that the answer is given. The element X belong to the 3rd period and 17th group of the periodic table. So its atomic number is 17. Its electronic configuration is 2, 8, 7. So if you write this, you get 1 mark. It can gain 1 electron. So if you write gain 1 electron, you get half a mark. Why it is gaining electron? Because it has to become stable, or to reach the octet structure. That also they can write. Then therefore the valency is 1. So like this, they have to give the reason. So half plus half, 1 mark. So this is how the 2-mark question should be framed. Any doubts, teacher? Shall we
No,
move on
ma'am.
to 3 marks?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Now this is the 3-mark question we are seeing in our screen. Now here you see, I told you in the beginning of the assessment session that every question will have a clue. The child has to look for the clue. Here you see that an element X of group 15 exists as a diatomic molecule. Group 15, if you look at group 15, we have 2 elements. Okay, right? What is it? It can be nitrogen, it can be phosphorus. Whether it is nitrogen or phosphorus, I should have that clear. Then only I can go to the next. What is the clue? The clue is diatomic molecule. Nitrogen is it's a diatomic molecule. Phosphorus is a polyatomic molecule. It is nitrogen, it is not phosphorus in elimination. I told you should use the elimination technique. So what is the elimination technique I will use? With the help of the clue that is given. What is the clue given in the question? Diatomic molecule. Upon nitrogen, we show it as N2. How is phosphorus denoted? How is phosphorus denoted? As P4. Right? P4. P4 na the diatomic, it's a polyatomic. It is not phosphorus, it is nitrogen. So this is the first conclusion the child has to come. Next, you should go to the next one. It reacts. I don't know what is what is it given? It can read. Can anyone read the question?
An element of X group of 15 exists as a diatomic molecule. It combines with a hydrogen.
It combines with hydrogen. So upon nitrogen is combining with hydrogen. So once I know what is the element, I can easily know what is the compound. Only see, nitrogen combines with hydrogen to form ammonia. If I take it as phosphorus, phosphorus also combines with hydrogen to form phosphine. So if you are going to talk about phosphine, you are wrong. The question is not about phosphine. The question is about nitrogen. You can see many children lost the mark here because they thought it is phosphorus. He has not given the atomic number. He has only given the group number. it belongs to group 15. He is not given the atomic number. So this is there, the trick is there. So whenever there is a tricky question like that, he would have given the clue hidden. So you have to look in for the clue. This is what I have been telling you right from the beginning. So now you know it is a nitrogen. Immediately you will know that nitrogen and hydrogen combine to form ammonia. Ammonia has pungent smell. So that also we know. So identify X. What is our X? X is nitrogen.
Nitrogen.
How many
Nitrogen.
valence electron does it have? You know that when you say about nitrogen, you will say that atomic number of nitrogen is 7. So in the K shell, it will have 2 electron. In the L shell, it will have 5 electron.
5
So it will
electrons.
have 5 valence.
5 valence.
So the element X is nitrogen with a half a mark. And the valence electron, 5 valence electron with another half a mark. Any doubts, teachers? Next,
No.
identify the compound Y. He is not asked the equation. So tell the children not to write the equation. See, they don't have to write N2 plus H2 like that. They don't have to write formation of ammonia because he has not asked and we have not taught them also. So we don't have to expect them to write the equation. He is just asked the name of the compound Y. Let them write the name of the compound Y is ammonia, NH3. Next, draw the how many lone pair of draw the electron dot structure. You can see there that is the electron dot structure plays a very, very important role in carbon and compounds. So whenever they draw this, they have to, I don't know whether I can. 1 minute. Can you see now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the first time, I have been successful, right? So here you can see how beautifully the electron dot structure is being drawn. Here you have nitrogen. So here you have hydrogen. It is sharing 1 electron. So a covalent compound is formed by sharing of electron. How sharing is done? Equally it is done. So you have to tell them to indicate the type of electron. For example, all hydrogen electron are indicated with dot. All nitrogen electron are indicated with X. You can
X.
put this in the diagram. So this you have to insist that when the examiner is looking at your answer paper, they should know what is the electron given by hydrogen, what is the electron given by nitrogen. So you have to tell them to differentiate. So hydrogen electrons are indicated by dot. So hydrogen is giving 1 electron, nitrogen is giving 1 electron. So where a bond is formed, what type of bond is formed? In a covalent bond, because sharing is taking place. 1 pair of electrons, so it's a single covalent bond. All these information they should know. Lone pair of electron, this is the lone pair of electron. What is lone pair means? Pair of electron which is not involved in the formation of bond. If you look at nitrogen or electrons we have indicated by X. Here you see that nitrogen, this electron is involved in formation of bond. Can you see my arrow mark, teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Here also this electron is also involved. This electron is also involved. But these 2 electron is not involved. So 2 electrons make a pair. So how many lone pairs are there? Now 1 lone pair is there. They are not involved in the formation of bond. So that is why they are called as lone pair. So in ammonia molecule, there is 1 lone pair of electron. So this is how the child has to write the answer. Any doubts, teachers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Right. We'll go to the next slide.
Yes, ma'am.
1 minute. I think now you are able to see it clearly. What
Yes,
is homologous series? Okay, so answer is given here. Homologous series is a series of organic compound which has same functional group and similar chemical property. So if you take alcohol, all methanol, ethanol, propanol, all will have the same functional group as OH. All of them will have a similar chemical property. Okay. Next, Barna. each member of this series differ by a CH2 group. So between ethanol and methanol, there will be a difference of CH2 group. So that is very, very important. Next, you see that C2H6, C2H6O, C2H6O2, CH4O. Here, which of the two are homologous series? Again, you have to use the elimination. What is the here? You see there is no oxygen at all. So because there is no oxygen, it cannot form a homologous series. We know that homologous series will differ only by a methylene group. Here there is no oxygen at all, so it will not form the homologous series. You eliminate this. Next you see here C2H6O, CH4O. Here one oxygen atom, one oxygen atom. So when you look at, please look at the board. It's given C2H6O. Am I right? Teachers? Yes? Yes? Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
H4O. Now you subtract this and see oxygen gets cancelled. C2 minus C is C. H6 minus H4 is H2. So the difference is a methylene group. So tell your students to do like this and see. So if they give you a series of compound, to identify a homologous series, the difference should be a methylene group. Apo, which are the two homologues? Abdina, it should be C2H6O and CH4O. The other two do not belong to homologous series. They are completely different compounds. So they are not homologous. So you will identify like this. So only when you tell them to do like this, they will be able to identify what it is and how it is, and they will do it. So that is the answer. Next question, Paranga, draw the structure of the following: 3-bromopentane, 1-hexane, ethene. So I will try to make it big. Can you see it now? Yes.
We can be able to zoom it and see, ma'am. Don't
Yes,
worry, ma'am.
So 3-bromopentane. First ask them to draw pentane structure. Pentane na 5 carbon atoms.
Carbon atoms will be.
There are 5 carbon atoms. In the third, there should be bromine. From here, ask them to count first carbon atom, second carbon atom, third carbon atom. Here, instead of 1 hydrogen, there should be bromine. So it should be 3-bromopentane. A and E irukradanaala, between the carbon atom, there is a single bond. So when they give the name like this, first they have to identify whether the compound is saturated or unsaturated. If it is saturated, they can draw single bond. If it is unsaturated, they have to know whether it is a double bond or triple bond. Now the next example will clearly tell you that. 1-hexane. Y&E is given. Y&E is it is a triple bond. After the first carbon atom, there should be triple bond. Hex in 6 carbon atom. These are the clue. So ask the children to draw first 6 carbon atom. Adutadu 1. Upper first carbon atom next they should draw triple bond like this. After drawing that, other carbon atom will have only single bonds, and this will be the structure of 1-hexane. Clear? So this is how you should teach them. Next one is ethene. Ethene 2 carbon atom you should know. E and E, there should be a double bond. So draw the 2 carbon atom, draw a double bond between that. After that, I told you have to count the number of lines. 2 lines already over, 2 more lines. So ask them to draw these 2 more lines with hydrogen. This carbon atom also 2 lines already over, 2 more lines. Ask them to draw the lines. So this will be the structure of ethene. Okay.